Is this thing on? It is. All right. Welcome back to the Bandwagon Sports Channel. I'm your host, DaRock, and it is Tuesday, meaning it is time for another loaded college basketball slate. So I'm going to be going through, once again, giving my picks for all the biggest games here on Tuesday and Wednesday. Going to try to, combine these into two, make it a little bit quicker, though, go through these games a little bit quicker. Just kind of let you guys know on what my thoughts are on these big matchups. And if you want to watch these big games along with me, I will be live on my Twitch channel. The link will be in the bio, so you can watch it on Tuesday night. Make sure to comment while you're down there, what games you're going to be watching. Like the video if you kind of like these, picks videos. Subscribe to the channel because we're going to have sports talk like this coming all the time. And let's get into it. So starting off here, I'm going to do my game of the day for each Tuesday and Wednesday. So this is going to be kind of like if you only watch one game, which if you only watch one game of college basketball on a Tuesday night in January, I feel very sad for you. There's a lot of great games on. Definitely encourage you to check out more. But if you're only going to watch one, these are going to be the games to watch. So starting on Tuesday, we have the 11th ranked Texas A&M Aggies heading to the 8th ranked Kentucky Wildcats at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. So it's been impossible to win in Rupp Arena this year. The Wildcats, they're 10-0 at home, and they're coming back home after a 95-90 win at Mississippi State on Saturday, where Jackson Robinson led the way for the Wildcats with 24 points. Texas A&M, they're led by Zerk Phelps, who scored 34 points in their comeback win against Oklahoma earlier in the week, and then 24 in the loss to Alabama on Saturday. So he's been hooping, especially without Wade Taylor. Wade Taylor has been out. He's Texas A&M's kind of main guard. So you can see here he's their leading scorer on the year. But Zerk Phelps definitely stepped up big, transfer from SMU. It's been a good addition. So it's going to be, an interesting matchup. I think that's kind of what I'm watching for in this game. Zerk Phelps against, a Jackson Robinson, against a Lamont Butler for Kentucky, against a Uga Owe. Kentucky has a lot of good guards, so it's going to be interesting to see how Phelps, can fare up against some of these guys. So, looking at the projections on this one, both of them have Kentucky winning, but both by close games. I think this will be a close game. Kentucky, they have played close games, like I said. They are undefeated at home, but that Florida game, 106-100, very, very close game. This win against Mississippi State, granted on the road, but 5-point win. They did lose to Georgia earlier in the week, so they are beatable in SEC play. But in Rupp Arena, I don't know. Maybe a team like Auburn or Tennessee could come in there later in the year, but I do not think Texas A&M Aggies are gonna be capable of that. So I'm gonna go with the Wildcats in this one. Then my game to watch on Wednesday, the 8th ranked Kansas Jayhawks head to Ames. They take on the 2nd-ranked team in the country now after Tennessee's loss. Iowa State has moved up to number 2. 14-1 Iowa State Cyclones. This one will be at 7 Eastern on ESPN2 as well. So Iowa State this year, they've not lost home, but that streak goes back even longer. 27 straight wins at home in Hilton Coliseum for the Cyclones. They're 14-1 on the year. Their only losses come to Auburn, who's now the number 1 team in the country, in Maui, and that was a game that Iowa State easily could have won. They did suffer, a close one. It did take a final shot in regulation by Curtis Jones to force overtime, but the Cyclones, they win 85-84 in overtime on the road against Texas A&M. Kansas, on the other hand, they've won 3 straight after suffering a loss to West Virginia in their opening Big 12 game. One they didn't see coming, but, they've bounced back, had dominant wins against UCF, dominant win against Arizona State, and then a nice 54-40 win at Cincinnati. So they've kind of cruised since then, but now they face a real test again. And this one, another one, it's going to be a big guard battle. Zeke Mayo and DeJuan Harris Jr. on the Kansas side, and then, they also have big Hunter Dickinson, who's back as well, so he's really good. And then Iowa State, they're led by, like I mentioned, Curtis Jones, then Keyshawn Gilbert and Taman Limpsey, both returning starters from last year, both very talented guards. So it's going to be a battle of the guards. Whoever's guards play better, I think, is going to win this game. And I also just think, the home court, it matters. It clearly has 27 straight wins. I don't see that streak ending today. Both projections have Iowa State winning this game, both by around 4 to 6 points. So it's going to be a close one. It's going to be a good one, but I'm going with the Cyclones to take it. Now we're going to move on to the rest of the SEC games. The SEC, best conference in basketball, they're going to kind of get their own little segment here where I just kind of touch on their games by themselves, because if there's SEC basketball on, I'd recommend watching how good these teams think they are in football. That's actually how good they are in basketball. There's going to be a good chance 11, 12 of the 16 teams in the SEC are going to be in the tournament come March. So first game we'll touch on here on Wednesday on the SEC Network at 7 Eastern. The 15th ranked Mississippi Bulldogs head to the now number 1 ranked Auburn Tigers. However, Auburn is going to be without Johni Broome, who was, kind of the leader for National Player of the Year until he suffered an ankle injury this weekend. He's out indefinitely for now. So it's going to be interesting, see who steps up for Auburn. It's really going to have to come from their guards, Chad Baker-Mazara, Denver Jones, Tahad Pettiford's one of the better freshmen in the nation. So guys like that, they're going to have to be the ones who step up in Broome's absence. And then on Mississippi State side, Josh Hubbard's their kind of guard that leads the way. Didn't have the greatest game in their loss to Kentucky on Saturday. So, some of their forwards are going to have to step up a little bit, especially, take advantage of that no Broome. Looking at the projections for this one, both of these games have Auburn winning by double digits. Without Johni Broome, especially, him suffering as big of an injury, massive as a loss that is, I don't know if I would necessarily say this is going to be a blowout by any means. I think this is still going to be a close game. But I'm still going to go with Tigers to win this one. I think, like I mentioned, they do have guys who can step up in Johni Broome's absence. Then moving on, we have a battle of two of the remaining undefeated teams in the SEC. The 21st ranked Ole Miss Rebels head to the 4th ranked Alabama Crimson Tide at 7 Eastern on ESPNU. So Mark Sears had a big game in Alabama's win over Texas A&M. They're 3-0 in conference. Oklahoma, South Carolina, Texas A&M, who's a really good squad, as their wins. And then Ole Miss, they've beat Georgia, who they're an underrated team in the SEC. We're gonna get to them here in a sec. Arkansas, who's been underperforming, but go on the road's good win, and then knocked off LSU over the weekend. It's been Sean Padula who's been playing really well for them. So it's going to be an interesting match between him and Sears. I think the projections, both of them have Alabama winning by around, 7 to 10 points. So I just think it's going to be so hard here in the SEC to go on the road and win games. So just a lot of the time, I think I'm just going to ride with the home team in these SEC matchups. Granted, I did pick against Ole Miss on the road last week, and it didn't turn out well for me. But Alabama, they're a good squad. They're a team. They were in the Final Four last year. I think you could very easily see them back in that spot again this season. And then final one on Wednesday, we have those 23rd ranked Georgia Bulldogs, who I just mentioned, cracking the rankings for the first time in over a decade. They head to now the 6th ranked Tennessee Volunteers. So Tennessee falls to 6. Following their 30-point blowout loss at Florida last week. Just a tough game from them. But they did, they rebounded with a nice win on the road at Texas. Georgia, 2 wins for them last week, against Kentucky, who is a good squad, at home. And then win against Oklahoma, who was undefeated heading into SEC play, but now is 0-3. So they've been sliding a little bit. So it's going to be a good matchup here between Asa Newell and Chaz Lanier, the two guards. Freshman Asa Newell, Chaz Lanier, he's really stepped up for Tennessee this year. He's kind of been that new Dalton Connect, who, they lost. So, he can fill the bucket. It's going to be a good match between those two guards. There's a lot of good guards here in the SEC. Looking at the projections, both of them have Tennessee winning by, 7 points, sometimes maybe a little bit more. And once again, just going on the road, I think it's going to be tough to do. I think Tennessee, while, that loss to Florida was bad, I think they bounce back. And I think they rebound here against Georgia. Just looking at kind of some other games here in the SEC to watch. Missouri takes on Florida at 8 Eastern time on ESPNU tomorrow. On Tuesday. Florida, good win over Tennessee, like I've mentioned. Followed up another win this weekend, so they're now they're one of those top teams in the country for sure. Missouri, team on the bubble, looking to get some wins, so that's gonna be a good one to watch as well in the SEC. So now moving on to the Big Ten. I would kind of do Big Ten and ACC together in this block, but the ACC games really aren't sticking out to me. I mean, Duke's at home on ESPN at 9 Eastern tomorrow night against Miami. I mean, anytime you watch Cooper Flagg, he's the best player in college basketball, definitely check him out. And then Clemson goes on the road to Georgia Tech, and Louisville goes on the road to Syracuse. I mean, two tournament teams or teams looking to be in the tournament. Some tough road games, but ones they have to win if they're going to be in the tournament. So those games are both on ACC Network, which I don't get, so probably won't be checking those out. So we're just going to jump into the Big Ten. 3 Big Ten games I like to watch. First, 19th ranked Illinois Fighting Illini head on the road, take on the Indiana Hoosiers at 7 Eastern on Peacock. Both these teams coming off bad loss over the weekend. Illinois lost by 10 at home to USC. After Illinois looked like they've been rolled, looked like they were, up there for Big Ten favorite. They kind of take a step back. And then Indiana just got ran out of the gym by Iowa, losing by 25. So both these teams looking to get a bounce-back win. So Illinois, they've won 4 straight on the road, but once again, be out without Kasparis, Jack Jonas, certainly, Killian Boswell and Wright and White to step up for them to get this win. And on the Indiana side, they're led by Miles Rice, and then Emenzi Mbako is their big, because once again, Malik Renew still out, their kind of leader. Umar Ballo, need him to step up, and then Trey Galloway needs to step up as well. He had 0 points in the loss to Iowa. So a lot of guys in Indiana just need to step up. It might be coaching, it might be Mike Woodson needs to go. We'll kind of see here what happens there, but for right now, they got to kind of try to stay in the fight. So looking at both these projections, Haslam has Illinois, winning by near the double digits. Nolan has it being a 1-point game. This is definitely, I would say, kind of an upset alert game. I think if the Hoosiers play up to their potential, they should win this one. Do I think they will? No. So I'm going to go with the Fighting Illini to take it. Then the next game we have here in the Big Ten, if it advances, there we go. The Ohio State Buckeyes head to now, once again, re-entering the rankings, the 24th ranked Wisconsin Badgers. This one's second game of the Peacock doubleheader at 9 Eastern. It's going to be a good guard matchup in this one between Bruce Thornton and John Tanji. Buckeyes, however, not look too hot. Coming back here, start of the new year for Big Ten play with loss to Michigan State. It took some horrible free throw shooting from Minnesota to pull out a double overtime win on the road and then drop another close one at home against Oregon on Thursday. Wisconsin, on the other hand, they put up 116 against Iowa. We're just shooting the lights on that one. Good win at Rutgers, and then one at home pretty handily over the weekend against Minnesota. So Badgers are rolling, as you can see, back in the rankings. Buckeyes, not a great start. They need to start kind of winning some of these games if they want to find themselves in the tournament in March. Right now they're in the field, but for who knows for how much longer. Especially, I just think the Badgers have this one. I think this should be a pretty easy win for them. It's tough to win there in Madison. Both projections have them winning by 8 to 10 points. So I'm gonna go with the Badgers. I'll go by 8 in this one as well. And then final one. This one is on Wednesday. The Penn State Nittany Lions head to the 12th ranked Michigan State Spartans. This one will be at 7:30 Eastern on the Big Ten Network. I watched Michigan State this weekend. I was at their game against Northwestern. I think they might be the best team in the Big Ten. It's either them or Michigan. I watched a lot of Michigan's game last Tuesday on my stream. Michigan State, they're just so deep. They played 10 guys in that win against Northwestern. One against Washington, had that good win in Columbus as well. Penn State, they've lost 3 straight. They've been without Ace Baldwin. They're kind of leader in this one. But, Michigan State, they're just so loaded. I don't think they have anyone to hang with them. And Jaden Adkins, Jalen Fears Jr., and then also, a lot of bigs like Cohen Carr. They're just all around solid squad. So I'm gonna go with the Spartans to win this one. Both projections have them winning by 10, maybe even more than that. So I think it should be a good one. This, like I said, another one. Penn State team trying to get in the tournament. They're gonna need to find a way to win some of these games in the Big Ten, but I don't think today's gonna be that one. Then just the other Big Ten games. Iowa heads to USC on Tuesday night, and then Purdue heading to Washington. So, some of these teams going out west could be interesting. Could the West Coast teams pull an upset alert? That'd be what I'm watching for. So now moving on to the rest of the big conferences, the Big East and the Big 12. We're going to start in the Big East with the Villanova Wildcats heading to the Xavier Musketeers at 6:30 Eastern Time on Fox Sports 1. So these are two teams kind of in different directions. Villanova started off slow, not very high expectations for them this year, but they've been playing better as of late for sure. Xavier, on the other hand, high expectations. Teams thought, they could be a dark horse in the Big East. Has not been the case at all. They're 2-4 in conference, while Villanova is 4-2. This one's going to be a big man battle. It's going to be really fun to watch. Eric Dixon, I keep mentioning he's going to be up there for, National Player of the Year, especially if Villanova can find a way to maybe be a little bit more competitive. I mean, he's the leading scorer in the nation, 25 points per game. He's going to be taking on Zach Fremantle, the leader for the Musketeers, who scored 20 points in their win over the weekend against DePaul. Villanova coming off a loss on the road to St. John's, but did beat UConn on a thriller. Alex Karabang got fouled but missed 2 free throws for Villanova to seal a big home win. So these are two teams, both lost to St. John's last week, both also had a win. It's a good battle between the bigs. Right now it's projected, both of the sites have Xavier winning, but I actually think I'm going to go with the Wildcats in this one. I've liked what I've seen from them lately. I mean, a win against UConn, tough road loss, but St. John's is, one of the better teams in the Big East as well. I could see them, pulling out a good win just because I've been higher on how they've been playing lately. Now we're going to go over to those St. John's Red Storm. They host the Georgetown Hoyas at 7:30 Eastern on Peacock. And like I mentioned, St. John's, good week last week, wins over Xavier and Villanova. The game against Villanova in the Garden, was really packed game. Kind of showed, St. John's basketball is back. People are excited about it again. R.J. Luis Jr., he's going to be a first team Big East player. He's really fun guard to watch. Then Kadari Richmond's there with him too. So really good guards on this St. John's squad. For Georgetown, led by Thomas Sorber, who's one of the best freshmen to watch. He's going to be first team Big East freshman. If he can maybe get a good game, for the bigs, because I would definitely give the guard match to St. John's in this one. But Georgetown, if they can dominate on the glass, maybe that's how they'd have a chance. They are coming off losses to Marquette and UConn, and now they play St. John's. So tough stretch here for the Hoyas, playing the 3 best teams in the Big East. But they're not a doormat of the conference like they used to be. So while both sites have St. John's projected to win by 10 plus points, cover the spread, I think this is going to be a competitive one. I think Georgetown's going to stick around, but I am going to go with the Red Storm to get the victory in this one. And then finally, the main Big 12 game, other than the one on Wednesday I already touched on, but the one for Tuesday to watch, 11 Eastern on ESPN, late night game. 25th ranked Baylor Bears are back in the rankings. They head to the Arizona Wildcats. So Baylor, staying out here. They had an overtime win against Arizona State on the weekend. Arizona, they're kind of rolling. They went on the road with wins against Cincinnati at West Virginia and then beat UCF at home on the weekend. So they've been rolling 4-0 in conference. Good start for them. Can they keep it going? What I'm going to be watching this one, it's going to be a good guard match between Caleb Love and Jeremy Roach. 2 transfers who know each other very well. Roach was at Duke. Love was at UNC. These guys were on the team during that 2021 Final Four game where UNC upset Duke. Game that still pains me to this day. So looking at the projections and favorite gambling-wise, Arizona is favored to win this one. And honestly, when I see a ranked team as an underdog on the road, that's red light bet against them. I'm going with Arizona to win this one, especially late night game. Granted, Baylor doesn't have travel. They're already out in Arizona from their game against Arizona State on the weekend, but I'm going with Arizona to take this one. Then just some other Big 12 games touch on quick. Texas Tech takes on Kansas State on Tuesday. Texas Tech currently a team in the tournament. Kansas State, a very underperforming team, not going to make the tournament. Texas Tech cannot afford to lose that game. And then Houston hosts West Virginia. Houston ranked 10th, one of the better teams in the country. West Virginia, while, they were ranked last week, they did suffer a loss. So we'll see if they can possibly rebound and get back in the win column against the Cougs. And then to wrap up here, just 2 mid-major games to watch on the day. So first, we're going to start in the A-10, the lone A-10 game of the day. The first place in the conference, St. Louis Billikens, only 3-0 team in the conference, head to the VCU Rams. VCU is actually the highest ranked team in the Ken Pom metric in the A-10 at 46th in the country. While, like I mentioned, St. Louis, they are first, only undefeated team in the A-10. But the A-10, the joke online, zero-bid league because they all just cannibalize themselves. And while, the A-10 really should be a good enough conference to get 2 teams in the tournament, especially with Dayton, who, was nationally ranked, has some good wins this year, but they also now have some bad losses because they've fallen into that A-10 cannibalism. So this game could really go a long way in, seeing who gets the 1 seed in that conference tournament. which puts them, on the best chance to go to the tournament in March. So leading the way for the Billikens, one of the most fun names in all of college basketball, Gibson Jimerson. He's scoring 18 points per game. Really fun name. Can fill the bucket as well. And then he's going to be taking on, Joe Bamisili and Max Shulga, really good guards for VCU. I haven't watched a ton of the Rams this year, but did check them out against Loyola Chicago and was impressed with those two. So going to be a good guard matchup. Both these projections have VCU winning by, 9-10 points, covering the spread of, 8.5. I guess now it's up to 9.5, so it depends on what you look at. And I think there's just another one, A10 Cannibalism, top team in the conference can go down. VCU does have a better record, 12-4 in the year to the Billikens, 10-6, so give me the Rams to take that one. And then the final game we'll touch on, going over the Mountain West, a league that last year got, I believe, 5, maybe even 6 bids in the tournament. I don't think they're going to get that many this year, but still some talented teams as the Colorado State Rams head to the San Diego State Aztecs. This one's at 11 Eastern on CBS Sports Network. So San Diego State team that currently finds themselves in the tournament. They were ranked earlier in the year, but they're coming off a loss to New Mexico on the weekend. Only 3-2 in conference, not a great start. Granted, they have also had to play Utah State, who is the top team in the league. They're led by guards Miles Bird and Nick Boynton, so they're a good matchup for them against Nate Clifford, who, as you can see, there leads Colorado State and everything. He's their leader. They are 4-1 in conference. That only loss also coming to New Mexico. So New Mexico, one of those teams, they're going to be fighting for a tournament spot. But these two teams not far behind them, right on their tails. So this is a big game for both squads. Looking at it, both have San Diego State winning by about, 6 to 8 points. So I definitely think this will be a close one. Honestly, the Mountain West, just, no stats behind this, just eye test. But I feel like these late-night games, the road teams do usually have a tendency to make it close, maybe even pull off an upset. So, that makes me debate. But I think I am just going to go with the Aztecs in this one. I think they bounce back, after a tough loss. They did win at Boise. Like, they are a talented team. Boise took Utah State to the buzzer on Saturday. Took a 4-bounce, 4-point play from Ian Martinez to win that game for Utah State. So Boise, good squad. San Diego State's beat them this year on the road, though. Now they're coming home in the Viejas Center. Tough place to play, so I'm going to go with the Aztecs take this one. That's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said at the beginning of the video, we'll be watching these games here on Tuesday night live on my Twitch channel, so make sure to tune in along with me. Comment your picks for these games or other games you're going to be watching. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed. I mean, if you're still watching this point, you gotta have liked the video. I mean, come on, why else would you be watching? Subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we're gonna be doing this every Tuesday. Gonna have a recap on some of these games, touch some other of Wednesday and Thursday's games tomorrow as well. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys then. Peace.